Welcome to our series about the Future Farm initiative here at the University of Western Australia. My name is Matthias Leopold and I am working at the university in the soil science discipline within the UWA School of Agriculture and Environment. Next to me is Emeritus Professor Lynette Abbott, who is a well-known and well-respected expert in the field of soil science in general and soil biology in particular. Professor Abbott, welcome, and thanks for your willingness for this interview. Can you tell our audience how you got interested in the topic of soil in the first place?
Thanks, Matthias. I became interested in soil in a roundabout kind of way. First, I was interested in plants, so I studied botany at university. While I was studying plants, I found that soil fungi were also very interesting. Then I studied interactions between plants and fungi, especially symbiotic associations called mycorrhizas, and they are associations between soil fungi and roots. This is a very specific aspect of soil science which involves understanding plant nutrition.
So Lynn, why are you now interested in soil biology?
Well, healthy soils have active communities of soil organisms that contribute to nutrient cycling. These organisms also help to create a soil that is open and easy for roots to move through. They also prevent soil erosion. In other words, soil biology is important for good soil structure and the supply of nutrients to plants.
What are the main kinds of organisms in soil?
Well, there are animals such as earthworms, of course. They can be seen easily, but they are not common in our agricultural soils in southwestern Australia. Earthworms feed on organic matter, so agricultural soils with low levels of cereal straw, for example, are not very good habitats for earthworms. However, there are many soil organisms that cannot be seen. There are thousands of species of bacteria and fungi, for example. Many of these microorganisms are involved in degradation of plant organic matter from their agricultural crops and pastures. In turn, they become food for tiny animals such as mites and springtails. But this is just an example of what is in soil. Soil is a habitat for much greater diversity of organisms than is found anywhere else on the planet.
I understand that volunteers and school students are planting trees at the Future Farm 2050 project. Is there a link between tree planting and soil biology?
Yes, there's an important link between trees and soil biology. First, the trees help stabilise the soil. Many years ago, quite a lot of the trees were removed from the university farm to enable crops and pastures to be planted. However, in some areas, this led to erosion, especially along waterways. We've been replanting these areas with the tree and shrub species that used to grow in this area. As a result, the soil stops eroding and organic matter starts to accumulate. And the numbers of microorganisms and soil animals then starts to increase. This increases the rate of nutrient cycling, and the roots of the trees and the understory plants start to build new healthy soil environments. The organisms in the soil play important roles in these processes. Some fungi form symbiotic associations with the roots of the plants, which I mentioned before, and this further helps the plants to take up nutrients from the soil. So there's a synergy between soil organisms and the plants which leads to successful restoration. The soil erosion is reduced, the microbial community and soil animals increase in number, and the soil becomes more resistant to degradation. So once the trees become re-established, they become part of the natural nutrient cycling processes. They don't need fertilisers to grow.
What is the long-term plan for tree planting at the Future Farm project?
Well, the intention is to gradually return trees to around 20 to 30% of the farm. The soil in the replanted area is already improving, and the communities of soil organisms are contributing to this. The farm manager uses the restored areas for short-term grazing by sheep. And this means there's a win-win situation. The trees help the bacterial and fungal communities to recover, which in turn supports the soil animal community. And together, the soil biological processes are restored and the landscape is protected against future erosion and degradation.
Professor Abbott, what would you suggest to a young person who is interested in soil nowadays?
Well, there are many unanswered questions that need to be investigated so that we look after our soils for future generations. Soil is so important, but it is often taken for granted. As agricultural systems evolve, they impact on the soil, but we need to ensure that they do this in a positive way. This is not always the case, so there is a lot to be done to understand how to prevent future degradation of this precious resource.
Lynn, thank you very much for your willingness to do this interview and to share your knowledge about the fascinating topic of soil biology.
Thanks, Matthias.